welcome to Shoes Off Talk. This is actually a pretty special show today. We have some sitting guests. We will get into details about how we got involved with them and future plans that Shoes Off Talk Failure Brand has with them. But let's make our introductions. On the ones and twos, we have,
This is your boy Floyd. What's going on, y'all?
and you guys know the young lady to my left or my right, depending on how you're looking at me.
Christy.
There she goes. Christine gonna act right for nothing in the world. She gotta do something extra. Something extra.
Here we go, Christy.
And we're going to have our special guests introduce themselves. And you know what? They're very multifaceted, so I want to talk about both sides of the coin of what they do.
Okay.
So give us the rundown. Let us know who you are. Name, the whole nine.
So my born name is Lisa Hightower. My stage name, if you put that in there, is Lisa the Oracle Hightower. The Oracle. That's
Love
not
that.
T-H-E. That's T-H-E-E. We'll talk about what that means later. So I am a singer-songwriter, and I see myself as a person that uses music as a way to kind of put medicine into people's veins and life in a way that's kind of unorthodox. So I'm an entertainer, pretty much. You want me to talk about the other side? Or we'll come back to that?
Talk
Okay.
about the other side, because that's going to be kind of like a prelude to what the conversation is going to
Okay.
be today.
And the other thing that I do is I teach, share, and most times in a very private setting, sacred sexuality. Sacred sexuality is really more about using sex as a tool to elevate, to manifest, to engage, to heal, and bring transformation. So I say most of the sex that we do right now in the world, generally speaking, if you look at sex as sort of like the transformation of a caterpillar to a butterfly, when it gets to sacred sexuality, it's a butterfly, but most people are at the caterpillar stage. And they
don't
use
know
it in the
the-
most base way possible. They ain't getting all the juice out of it.
We need all the juice.
They ain't getting all the juice.
And who is this young lady that you have to your left?
Oh, thank you for calling me young lady. I really appreciate that. Okay, I'm Sharon. Sharon Waters, and actually, I'm kind of management
Whatever she wants to do,
director.
she's in
person
charge.
for Lisa Hightower. Known her for so long, and just been that support system for her. And they call me like a sharer. You know, normally I do talk. I do talk quite a bit sometimes. And my thing is really I love to share love. I really do. I'm a lover. And so I do love sacred sexuality. I love to impart the energy that I have within me. And I do carry my energy. I know how to hold it, and I know how to give it. And I know how to place it in different places within that person in order to pull the best out of them. So I'm excited about the conversation. I don't know if I'm going to say a whole lot. But
Well,
what I
you
do
ain't gonna
say-
really have a choice about how much you say, because this is our show. So yeah, we gonna bring it out. So just so y'all know, when we first started the show, I said that I was gonna have her talk, and she kind of was like, "All right, well, come on." Like, and that kind of took the thrill out of it, because I thought I was doing something that was gonna kind of put her on the spot, but she basically told me she wanted all the smoke. Yeah, I'm good. So now, don't be trying to fall back now. I need that same energy you gave us.
We up in here.
Exactly. I need that same energy. Give me that same energy. But yeah, I'm excited for the show today. I actually posted something on Facebook last night, and I asked some of my Facebook friends. I said, "Hey, give me your some feedback." And not to get sidetracked, but it kind of falls in line with what we're talking about today. I said, so how would you handle if your mate used sex as basically kind of like a weapon against you, like withholding sex?
Okay.
And so I see some of the eyebrows in this room is raised. I see some of the eyebrows raised. And I was getting a lot of really good answers. Most of them's kind of what I figured, the communication and if there's communication, there's no need to use sex as a weapon or as a tool as far as withholding. And then there was some that was like, hey, depends on how long it's been going on. If it's something that has been going on for a while, then you need to get out. They need to get out. And so, real quick, what is your views on that?
I have two views. If somebody uses something as a weapon, they only use it as a weapon if they feel like they're at war. So it depends on what has been. I mean, if I want to talk from the standpoint of how it should be, that's one thing. But if we talk about how it really is sometimes, if you feel like you're at war, and unfortunately sometimes that happens with men and women, we're at war against each other, people start pulling out whatever weapons they think is going to be most effective. And we all know that the punani can be very effective. Is that a good word to
That
use?
sounds so exquisite. Can you say that again?
The punani.
How she said it. It's almost like she sang it. The punani. Yeah.
Well, you should be singing that.
Hey, I thought you didn't have much to say today. Punani come up, and now all of a sudden you got something to say, huh? Okay.
You got something to talk about.
Hey, let us find out. Let us find out.
Have you made him sing, Chef?
Hey, that's what I love about Shoes Off Talk. We have unapologetic conversations and conversations that, in all likelihood, make some people uncomfortable. And that's the purpose of us creating this podcast, is that we don't feel like there's enough of those uncomfortable conversations out there. Because I really feel like the more uncomfortable conversations you can have, the more people become educated about what's really going on. Because we live in a society where we want to just pat you on the head and tell you what you want to hear and coddle everybody. And we are raising a generation of weak-minded people because we're not giving them the truth. And so I really appreciate you guys giving us the truth. But what say you, Miss Christy, as it pertains to this? Oh, just to kind of piggyback off of what you just said, I had a thought too. You said that we are typically is when you're at war, and it's understandable because I really feel like sex isn't really the topic of discussion when it comes to someone withholding sex. There's other issues, and like you said, sex is just the weapon to that bigger battle.
Yep.
Okay.
That's when you're normally really frustrated if you're using. If you're doing that, you're frustrated. You feel like you maybe have not been heard for a minute.
Okay. I'm gonna let Christy comment on that, but then I want to come back to that and just talk about the other side, the results of that. Christy, what say you?
Well, I've never had that problem, so I can't speak on it.
You've never had that problem, so you don't even know how to comment on that.
Christy said.
But I do know it goes both ways, because men can do that too. Men can be the ones who withhold also.
We're not talking gender specific.
But I know that usually, typically, people think that it's women who always withhold. It can go either way, and I agree. It's a weapon. It is a weapon, because if you're withholding something, you feel like you're in a war. So why? You have to get to the core of that.
Yep.
So how is it that you get to the core of that, Tim?
I feel like I'm in court, sir. I'm not understanding the question.
Put your right hand up.
What is the question?
Sir, you're under oath.
Yeah. What was the question?
How do you get to the core of the issue?
She did it.
I'm waiting for you.
The core. Well,
We're always talking about communication.
You get to that point because of the lack or the inability to communicate.
Right.
the resolution to that is if you are lacking communication and now you have to pull out weapons, then you have to find an alternative way to communicate.
Exactly.
Sex.
And
I'm sorry.
No, but for real, especially the
Yeah.
high vibration of it.
exactly. I really feel like sometimes it may be good to get an intermediate, someone involved in a conversation to hear.
We went to swinger conversation already. What
God.
happened
I'm in counseling. I meant get somebody involved as far as counseling is concerned.
that was
That's
fast.
better than-
I'm gonna need that
Come on,
wine
that's
about right now.
Pour me a drink.
So just to explain myself.
You
So
got some explaining to do.
what I meant when I said get somebody involved is sometimes you have to have that third person in the communication to where they don't have a vested interest either way, and they can hear both sides and give opinions based on not choosing the side. I mean, we go to marriage counseling, we go to couples counseling. So why can't we go? There is sex counseling, or you know.
Are you
does
looking
that.
at this like if it's an ongoing problem? Are you talking at the beginning of the issue, or this has been going on for a while?
We're gonna say that it's been an ongoing issue, because when we talk time frames, everybody's time frame is different. When it talks about when we say, "Oh, it's been going on for a while," for some people, 3 weeks,
Right.
Could be a while.
it may be a while, you know. So we're not gonna put a specific time frame on it. There's been a reoccurrence of it, so to speak, and so there's patterns. There's already a pattern of it happening.
So a pattern could be based upon something maybe from someone's past too, correct?
That is true.
So
That is true.
being able to and understanding the difference sometimes within a masculine energy and feminine energy, and understanding that dynamics of where males generally come from or where females come from, the thought process, because a lot of times women think different than men, and a lot of times we try to solve a problem based upon what we think a man is saying, but we don't really know sometimes what the male is saying because we haven't taken time or been educated as far as the way men think. You know, so and men haven't been educated upon how women think, so that we can find that middle of the road place where it's not a you win, I win, but we come to a place where we both can live out in a peaceful environment.
You asked about a counselor, right? That's what she does. So
Okay, well,
that's,
Don't put me out there.
why not?
already
Hey,
out. People need help.
We have viewers that need that
Oh,
need
yeah.
that.
All right.
yes,
Okay. Okay.
yes.
So
Okay,
Floyd,
good.
what say you?
Okay. Yeah. So
Go ahead.
oh, Floyd, no, Floyd, boo-boo. I want to hear from you.
What was the question?
Oh, you laughed at me.
Good answer.
Oh, you stuttered now. You ain't got nothing to say.
That was funny.
Lights, camera, action. Lights, camera, action.
Floyd said, what y'all say? That's funny.
So, I mean, what do you, Floyd is in a loving marriage, which is his relationship is deep rooted in faith, and so to give us that perspective from a faith based or Christian based, or you know, you could throw out some scriptures or what have you, but we need you to make a comment on this, sir. However you want to make that comment, we need some input.
Well,
See what happens.
what happened was, I really think that when it comes to just sex and just couples and whatever, you really have to be able to number one, communicate, and then like we said last week, we talked about intimacy. You know, that has to be a big part of it as well. You know, it doesn't matter if you're Christian, non-Christian, whatever. It just comes to the point of you person, understanding each other, and wanting the same thing when it comes to what do you want when it comes to sex? What do you want when it comes to intimacy? What do you want? Because then you're not just pleasing yourself, you're pleasing each other.
How do you get there?
I would say more so it's all about communication. It's all
How do you communicate? What is that?
when you say when I say communicate, it's more so of the actions you take. It's more so of having that point of view of not just verbally, but physically when it comes to togetherness, when it comes to doing things together outside of sexual. When you do things together for a period of time, all that comes inside when it comes to sex.
Okay, so how do you know, how do you get to that action, that action that you're actually doing to indicate that you're communicating? How did you get to know what that action would be? How did you get there?
By coincidence?
It all boils down to creating a bond. Once you create that bond and getting to know each other, you kind of learn those nuances.
Yeah, I'm saying, how do you let's talk about how we get to that bond thing, because I think that's important.
It really is.
Somebody said they weren't going to be talking.
Oh, I just said
we must have tapped into a subject.
I told you.
Yeah. We tapped into a
He
subject.
didn't came alive.
Yeah.
Wouldn't like one point of it be more so of how the person is feeling at that time?
acknowledging how they're feeling at that time.
And then at that point they're like, especially a woman, like some women, they'll have a certain vibe when it comes to them when they get into that mood setting.
What is that
What
vibe?
vibe?
What does that vibe look like in your house?
It's a mood that
What's the mood?
they're more touchy.
Ooh,
In what way?
okay.
Can you explain? Can you give
Well,
details?
Examples,
it's
examples.
nothing like exotic or anything. It's more so of they come on you, they start holding you, they start they start rubbing on you
Nesting.
and stuff like that and everything.
Nesting.
So
Yeah.
Is that the word? Is that the word? Nesting?
Nesting.
Okay.
So,
Well, there
yeah.
needs to be more nesting in there.
Right.
Even
Yes.
So when I think of sexual energy, as I said, I use it in music, I use it in life, because I think sexual energy is intercoursing with people. And so when it gets to wanting to have sex with someone specifically, if I would just talk really honest from my standpoint of some experiences, sometimes it's challenging not to just have sex. Sex, that's easy. But I'm talking about sacred sexuality, where I want you to understand the essence of who I am. And each part of my body and who I am is actually being made love to, because you're aware of the energy of it. So we're not there just for an ejaculation, not just for an orgasm. And it's not there just to, how candid can we be here?
Oh, very candid.
Oh.
Apologetic conversation.
Okay, so I mean, when this term that they use, I'm just trying to nut. Well, that alone is a very I didn't mean to talk to you.
I had to take a sip of some energized nutrition.
Oh gosh. Well, because here's what I'm saying: terminology also dictates. Oh boy, here we go. It also dictates a lot of the things that happen during those intercoursing moments. So if you already have a mindset, okay, I just need to nut. I'm not saying anything is wrong with that. I'm saying a lot of women, though, from before, we were used to a elongated experience that took us from point A. You doing this side? To point
Elongated.
A. This what I can't with you guys. You cannot
No,
talk.
I'm just
You
trying
can't
to
talk to
understand
guys
the
because
conversation.
no matter what.
Tell them
I'm
what
too.
that point
Go
A
ahead.
or point B looks like.
Huh?
Tell them what that point A to point B looks like.
Point A to point B first looks like the key thing that you guys talked about is conversation. Because people do not like to talk about sex. They just like to do sex. So if you don't talk about sex and you don't talk about, so when I share with men about sacred sexuality, to be honest with you, it's pretty rare that I find one that goes, okay, I'll take the journey. I've heard Woo! That's gonna be a lot. But that tells me that they're there for a different intention. I said, we can be friends, but we won't step over into another arena because I already know what that's going to look like. And to be very honest, since moving here, it's been a completely different experience than what I'm accustomed to in the Midwest.
Do you think where a person is in their life has to do with the inability to connect on a energy level, and it's more superficial, like you said, just getting a nut?
I think that we have retrained in society for a quick fix. I think it's
Everything about society is.
yeah. IG is a quick fix. You can slide into DMs. You don't have to form it. So, for instance, I'm going out with someone tomorrow. When I met him, he sent me a text to go out, and I said, "Sir, I don't answer through text if you want to take me out." He then called and said, "Oh, wow. So you that kind of girl." I said, "I'm just telling you what my preference is, because if I don't have a voice-to-voice conversation with you and you texting me, and if I say one thing and we just met, you can't tell the tone of what somebody's saying through a text. So I'm like, if you want to take me out, I already know what kind of date I want. So no need for me to start off down here, because I'm telling you what I desire, what I like, and we can meet that or not meet it." So I think what we've developed now, people feel a little desperate because it's like, well, what if I don't get, and what if this person doesn't do it? Well, that's just not the person for you. But I'm willing to wait versus to have something that is going to affect my whole vibe. Because that, entering into my holies of holies, that's, let me tell you something. You better be a high priest and a king.
Yes.
Because
It's your temple.
yeah, all this stuff comes out. I know how I've been when it was relationships where that engaging wasn't the level I wanted. It affected me for maybe days, weeks, months, and he's gone on about his business.
Yeah, can I say something about that? Yes. What a lot of people don't realize, women especially, when we have sex with a man, his DNA becomes a part of us. So he becomes a part of us, and his energy actually stays in our energetic field for 7 years. Do you know how much I celebrated 7 years after my divorce? I'm like, woohoo! 7 years, that's a long time. So we really have to be conscious of like going out and freely just giving that energy away, because sex is the most powerful energy. We literally create. We create.
Yes.
So if we're not going to create a human, what are we going to create? What are we going to cautiously manifest with that energy? It's more than just, let's just go like get a nut, like you said. You know, it's not. It's not just about, getting off. It's you're actually wasting that energy if you don't cautiously have an intention for that energy, what you're going to create, what you're going to do with that. And if you don't have these conversations with your partner beforehand, and this society is just so much of a, quick fix, so many men out there that's what men and women, that's what they want, is the quick fix. But what men don't realize also, if you think about it, athletes abstain from sex for a reason, because they want to hold that energy in, because it makes them play better. That's for a reason. That sexual energy is the most powerful energy we have. Why are we just giving it freely? Okay, so.
Okay,
anyway.
I want to play devil's advocate.
I know you got to come on.
I wanna play
The
devil's
the
advocate.
men over here like, now wait a minute
I
now.
have to play devil's advocate. I've got some guys on here that I'm speaking for y'all. Y'all ain't said it, but I'm about to speak for y'all.
They back there.
What is wrong with the occasional quick nut? Like what?
Nothing's
like,
wrong.
Nothing wrong.
We didn't say anything was
Yeah,
wrong
like,
with it.
what if some people want to drop some energy off here and there? Like, feel like she may need a little drop of energy, or she may need a little drop, or he may need a little drop of energy. Is there something wrong with that?
I don't think anything's wrong with it. I think you said occasional, but it's the opposite. The taking your time, having intimate connection, that's what's become occasional, or
Right,
sometimes
right.
not at all. And
That's
but now
very
here's
true.
the thing: I do believe. Now this is almost a contradiction of my first statement. I do believe that men are created to bring pleasure, and I believe that their presence, and their penis is created to bring that to the world. Now, does that always mean an actual intercoursing from a physical standpoint? Maybe not, but let me give an example of you. May I?
Yeah, go ahead.
How you gonna speak for me? She was asking me.
Thank you, Floyd.
Okay. Thank you, Floyd.
Well,
Speak of
this is supposed to be my guy.
so
Okay,
Tim.
see how it is.
So Tim, say for an example, I'll segue into how we met. So you guys probably can't tell, but we literally just met. We met yesterday.
Oh my God.
Yesterday.
We met yesterday. Okay? So I walked past the door. That energy that was in the room, it was him and two other ladies. We slid on back like, hey, who is that? So we came in the room. Now, him sitting there, his masculine energy, first of all, I felt that and it made me just go. And then he began to say, we could do this, we could help with this. All that was, for me, strong, masculine, pleasurable energy without him ever touching me. So what I'm saying is that energy is there. That's the essence of who you are. And women sometimes just need that, not from the standpoint you have to be my man, or because people start putting titles and connections before they ever see what the person is for. If you check to see what a person is for, then you can utilize them in the best way. And so the energy that I got from you was very grounded in your sensual energy, very grounded in your pleasuring women in terms of you serve them in a way that it helps them to go to the next level. That's what I picked up from you. So to me, that's sensual, that's sexual, and that is foreplay for something that we're going to create that may have nothing to do with physical. We're creating babies that look like money, that look like music, that look like events, that look like podcasts. So.
Yeah, I was a little nervous. I like how that kind of turned out. That kind of shrunk in my seat a little bit. I was like, okay, what's that? But man, she was off talk. If y'all haven't been listening, y'all need to tune in because we have some really educational and informative conversations that that not only everyone needs to hear it. I love how unapologetic we are about the conversations we have. But what you said about the men is a perfect segue into one of the other topics for today: men making strong women. So, men making strong, and the reason why we didn't say strong men making strong women, because not necessarily all men that make strong women are strong men.
Say more.
Break it down.
Yes. So I have a brand. I'll just use this. I have a brand. It's called Failure, and the purpose of the brand is to change that negative perception of how people view failure, because we've always had a negative idea of what failure is. We have the sayings: failure is not an option. Avoid failure. And really, failure is like death. It's going to happen regardless of whether or not you want it to happen. What are you going to do to prepare for it? What are you going to do to prepare when you fail at something? It's like death. Are you preparing to die? Are you making sure that the people that you leave behind are taken care of? Same kind of, and I also compare failure to faith. Faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. Failure, you're trying to get a result of something that you don't know if it's going to turn out the way you want it to be.
That's the only way you experience it, right?
So, exactly.
You went for something.
So men interacting with women, it's not necessarily the strong man all the time that a woman will learn from. A woman can also learn from their bad experiences with not so strong men. And that is a takeaway as far as life is concerned, is that there's always a positive in even the most negative situations. And if we change our mindsets and the way we look at things, instead of looking at him or her and be like, man, that was a waste of my time. I wasted that much time with this and that and this. No. Think about all of the failures that happened within that relationship that now, if you hadn't gone through them then, you would go through them later. And how much of that relationship, that negative relationship, has prepared you for the relationship that was meant to be in your life. And that's another conversation, is that we always try to make temporary situations permanent. Not everybody that comes in your life is meant to stay in your life. Sometimes they're meant to teach you one of two things, what you deserve and what you don't deserve. And so when we talk about men creating strong women, we're not putting a title on men, whether they're strong or not, because they're learning from both types of men. So, Christy, this was actually Christy came up with this topic. And so, Christy, give us your views on, or what made you want to have that as a topic of discussion for today?
Well, I brought it up because I had a friend. I was having a conversation with a friend about things that we're grateful for, and I was having gratitude for the strong men in my life that made me strong. That's what even the hard times, I perceive them as very hard times that I've gone through in my life. I'm what you would consider a strong woman. I'm a single mom of 4 who's supporting a house of 7. So, I'm like, I wouldn't have been able to become this woman without those men. And I'm having this gratitude for them. And my friend goes, my friend says, you want to say something?
What does that say?
I'm not, my cousin Ronnie Niles posted something on Instagram. I'm not going to repeat that.
Yes, please.
I'm not.
What Ronnie said?
No.
I can't see either.
Got her.
Hey, I said we're not going to repeat that. Don't comment. Don't comment. Just
Tell him to call me.
Ronnie, she said call. Go ahead.
Okay,
Sorry.
so
That's
and my friend's response was, no, it's not the strong men that have made you strong. It's the weak men. There are weak men who have made you strong. If they can't make you feel supported and safe, then you're forced to find that within yourself. And that had changed my perception a little. I had to really sit there, and at first, the yogi in me is like, no, there's positive in everything. I'm thinking of all the good, the gratitude, and I had to sit there with that and think, did I feel safe or supported in any of those relationships I'm thinking of? I'm thinking strong because physically they're strong. My first job was at a gym. So like I've always been drawn to very like men that work out. They're very like buff. But that doesn't necessarily mean they're strong. Just because they're physically strong doesn't mean they're mentally strong. So when I thought about it, I'm like, okay, did I feel safe and supported? And when I say supported, I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about, do they support your dreams, your inspirations, what you want? Do you feel safe? Does your body feel safe? Do you physically feel safe? So there's layers on both of those words. And I had to really look at that, and my answer was no. No, she was right. I didn't. And I did have to find that with myself, and that did make me become a part of who I am. And I've met so many amazing men in my life, so I'm not dogging on men. And I think that men can work from a place of toxic masculinity, but then when they open up that heart center, and they know how to work from a place of love, they're so powerful and they don't even realize it. So women, I feel like, have been forced to be more in their masculinity. But if you put a masculine man around me, you will see me change and be more feminine. For example, I'm more feminine in this room around you guys. I don't have to be super.
Wait a minute.
I don't have to be super masculine. You get me around, a very weak man or, around my children. I have to put on, my big girl pants, and I have to be very masculine. So I think as women, we're very fluid, and we will even change how masculine and how feminine we are based on the man that we're around. So anyway, that's my take. What do you have to say?
I want to talk to Ronnie. No, here's why this is important. His comment it speaks to the mindset. He don't want me to say his comment.
No, don't say his comment.
That's an
How you
important
gonna talk
comment.
to it?
Okay, all right.
That's-
Go ahead.
So his comment says,
He put it out there.
what did he say? That you made my panties get wet, right? Is that what he's? Why you?
Yes.
Okay, so because I said his masculine energy, so this is what I mean by us elevating just a little bit in terms of how we look at sexual energy. We immediately think that it's waist down only. But do you know, as she just described, a man can just open up your entire heart chakra if you feel safe, but that doesn't mean they're your man. So when I meet men, because this is often if I meet men, if they're interested, they cannot hear anything I say in terms of, well, let's see what the relationship's supposed to be for. They go, what do you mean? If I like you, then this is what it's supposed to be for. I said, no, not necessarily. I checked to see. So I felt a connection with him immediately, but I also felt like, oh, we're getting ready to do business together. It didn't feel like it was supposed to be this big, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Ronnie's trying to make it. But but I'm saying this is how sometimes our mindsets. So say if we did do that. So I'm an artist. I have men around me all the time. I'm the only female. I have what do you call it? I have this thing about me where I will not sleep with, engage, date, or be involved with my band members, period. That's just, I don't do that. If you do that, but I've also had to make it very clear to them, just because there's a connection, you got to pause and see what the connection is for. And that's so challenging because I have a lot of male friends and we had to get there to me. But does that mean we're supposed to be in that kind of relationship? So listen here, Ronnie. I know that language, when we start talking intimate and deep, and although it's automatic that, oh man, that must mean, she's trying to look at him like that and that. And and I'm not saying he's a nice looking guy, but I run through to see what a person is there for. Because when you find out what they're there for, what is the saying? If you know the purpose of a thing, you won't abuse it. Right? Yeah. So I check to see, because if I just went willy-nilly with this, when I meet people, because I meet men and what I do all the time, oh my goodness, I would be that girl in the band. I would be the pass around because the invitation is there to do so. Ronnie, we'll talk off camera.
No, I mean, I don't know if this is still along that line, but what I was getting was, like, sometimes we don't acknowledge that when we walk into a room, it's more than, it's like, it's more to us. It's like, we got family members that are present with us, we got history, we got, a whole bunch of stuff is coming in the room, and when I see you, if I'm attracted to you, like, oh, God, that's a good-looking dude. I know the physical thing, but I also have the part of me that's a spirit being, so it's seeing deeper than I see with my own natural eyes. And I'm acknowledging and seeing something, but I may not recognize it right away. I may not know all of that, what it is, but I know I'm attracted to you until we have some engagement. And it may take a while because it depends on where I am and how affirmed am I in my own essence of who I am. I attract to some of the things that I am and also that are there to develop me. So you may have something undeveloped in you that my spirit being is saying, you're attracted to this person, but it's something in there that's going to help me develop and something in me that's going to help you develop into. into into.
So what I'm getting from this is people need to understand what the attraction actually is.
Yes. Yes.
It's we get a feeling, and
We
the
be
way
young.
society, you know, translates that feeling is in the sexual.
In
Yes.
the sexual.
Yes.
And I'm
In
not
the sexual
knocking the
sense.
sexual.
No,
part.
No,
but
that's beautiful.
it's so important that what you said is like we need to be able to differentiate what the attraction is,
Yes.
and it's almost like it's like going for a job. When you go
Yes,
for a
it's
job,
in
you
your
don't just apply to work. You apply for a specific position based on your skill level.
That's good.
Yep.
That's good.
So that's why I think we live in a world that is we don't have a lot of good communicators. People don't know how to communicate. And I think if we don't catch it early, we get set in our ways as we get older and think that this is how I've communicated for so long, I'm not going to change. And so what happens is it's like the military, you adapt and overcome. And adapting and overcoming is not necessarily putting you in a position to be the best communicator.
What about this? We're not even good communicators with our own self. Because we'll tell ourselves something and we'll do something totally opposite than what we told ourselves we're going to do. So we don't really communicate that well with ourselves
No,
sometimes.
we don't. And I tell people, it's like, you know, and I post a lot of stuff as far as motivation and different things. And I say, how could you expect someone to be truthful to you when they constantly lie to themselves?
Yes.
And where we fall prey to that is that we have a tendency to put our expectations on other people. And it's so unfair because like someone said earlier, is like, well, I'm bothered because I wouldn't have did it like that. Well, that person is not you. And for you to put your expectation on them is wrong. Absolutely wrong. And
I mean, you'll be disappointed.
and we do it to ourselves. Like you said, we do it to ourselves. We hold other people to a higher expectation than we hold ourselves.
Don't we do
This
it?
is true. This is true.
So that's the confusing part of it is there's definitely time in your life to where you need to, you know, like what you need to get in touch with yourself. And in those moments when you're getting out of a relationship, take time to yourself and reflect on everything you've been through and understand that I need to be more in touch with myself before I can get in touch with someone else. And when you don't take the time to do that, I think that's the biggest sign of selfishness. Is because now you're taking that
All of that.
into another relationship,
Yeah.
is going to another relationship, and you're taking it into another relationship. And what's crazy is we look at our past relationships and don't realize that we're the common denominator.
Right.
Always.
You're the string.
Like,
Wow.
Yeah.
if I'm in four relationships and they all ended the same way, okay. So what's the common denominator in all of this?
Hello, somebody.
Exactly. And I think our pride is what gets in our way, is because we want the world to view us a certain way. And with the advent of social media and likes and all of these things, we feel the need to have everyone like us. So if we get in touch with who we are and what our deficiencies are, that means people will like us less. But it's not true. If you come to the understanding of what your deficiencies are, the right people will be in your life.
Let me speak to that.
Right.
So that still takes me back to the connection with you yesterday, because we had a whole. Sharon and I have been working on this music thing for since we've been here, and that's been about 6 years. We have had more meetings than you can imagine of this. I mean, they're gonna do this. They're gonna do everything for me. Meet you. How much does it cost for you to get your album? Okay, $25,000. Okay, I got you. That's too low. I mean, it's from every aspect. Some meetings we've met the person 5 and 6 times, and then we're Midwest friendly, open community. So for me, a little naive sometimes with some of those things. So it took another man to say, "Hey, girl, that man is not trying to pay for your music." that man is trying to make music with you.
Ah.
You know, it was like
Yeah.
they had to make me aware of this whole process. But that I got into a groove here. I got into a pattern of having these meetings because I wanted something so bad, right? I wanted the music to go here, and I wanted to be at this level, and this is how you do it. So I created, this vibration, this attraction, because I had to look at the common denominator. After a while, it was me. I wasn't just meeting the same kind of men as it relates to the business, but it started to become, if I was going out, I was like, I don't know what, my statement, I don't know what's wrong with these men here. I just kept saying that. I kept saying that. My sister was like, okay, you saying it's the men. And I'm not saying it's a different culture, but you come from your culture with the expectation that people are going to be the same. That men will approach you this way and that way. So they weren't doing that. So after a while, if I'm still saying yes to a certain kind of dating, then after a while it's me. So I took some time, cleared my energy, and that energy cleared. I mean, I've done it several times, but this last time just opened up a completely different world. Starting to meet people like you with integrity that said, there really is a podcast. You can show up and we can have conversation. And we're going to help with this.
Yeah.
Meeting the person that owns this building, him saying, okay, this is what I'll assist with. We left a meeting with you yesterday, went into another great meeting with the MD who came from another state. Because the things I started saying was, if the man is not here, or the men that you're supposed to connect with, if it need be, they'll come from somewhere else. The guy I'm going out with, he's a black African man that's been living in China for 11 years.
Oh, wow.
And we're going out tomorrow. The approach he approached me with is the way I like to be approached. Is it him that's so different, or did I clear up some
You
things?
track that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I cleared up some things.
Yeah, you definitely
Yeah.
clear up some things.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I talk about is we need to start valuing our time more. Because there's a lot of things in our life that are replaceable. We have all of these different things in our life that we try to hold on to, that we think are everlasting and all of this stuff. And the one thing that is the most valuable thing that we possess, we give it away for free. And so if you give it away for free, how much value do you think your time has to someone else? And so that's where I got to a point in my life to where I'm going, I told myself, it's like, I need to start valuing my time more. And so now when people know that they meet with me, it's like, don't waste my time. Don't waste my time. Likewise, when someone gives me their time, I'm super honored because I know what that is. I understand the value of it.
Nice.
But it will never start if we don't start understanding how to value our own time.
Which is about valuing
Right.
ourselves, right?
Right. So
That's the part.
I want to make a comment on that it's us, that we're the common denominator you had mentioned. And I was just talking with my mother about this, actually, because I started talking to women that are like, they have the same patterns. They get out of one marriage and get right back into the same type of man.
Yeah.
Or you hear about a woman who's abused, finally has the courage to leave, gets right back. Is there really that many men who beat women out there? How are you finding the only, no, it's you. You are attracting that energy. So I think that we've become codependent, just don't want to be alone. So if it's a quick fix of just meeting different people all the time, or you can't stay with someone for a long time, or you go from one toxic relationship to the other toxic relationship, and it's the same pattern, until you're alone with yourself and you really look at, okay, what is my pattern? Why? How can I change that? Consciously make that effort, that if that energy comes to you, recognize it and don't let it in your field, you're never going to grow as a person. You will stay in the same cycle for this entire journey of life. So do you want to stay stuck, or do you want to grow and experience different things? So I really think we need to look at our own patterns more. Like you said, you noticed it was you. I've noticed that too. I've tried to bring this conversation to my friends as well. We need to stop putting the blame on the men and recognize, or the women, whoever we've dated, and start recognizing our patterns, what we're attracting. So I just wanted to make that comment.
I think that the support here is really good too. Even this podcast that's talking about it, and people know that they can come here and listen, and they see different people that have had the experiences and know that somehow they can reach out. They can, send a message. I need to talk to so and so. I need support. Because I heard you say about your mom. You talk to your mom. That's a support team right there.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just can't do it. You get to that point, and you feel like, okay, I can't do it anymore, so I go back to the. But if you got somebody in your circle or someone you can reach out to, they'll be like, I'm standing right here with you. I will be here with you if you need it, and actually help you stay there for a moment. Not forcibly, but in a way that it feels like, oh God, I can rest for a minute and be okay. So we all need that sense of being okay, no matter if we're moving forward, if we fail. I thought a failure, like failing is like falling and letting it go, and then you find the you are your.
Yeah.
You'll find your.
Yep.
self.
I like that. I like that. I say something similar to that as it pertains to failure. I say fail early, fail often, but most of all, fail forward. If I'm a fail, I want to fail going that way. I don't want to fail going back, because if I fail back, I'm going to repeat the same cycle that got me in that place. So I want to fail forward. And
That's
so
why there's a book. There's a book. Do you know the book Fail Forward?
Fail forward.
Oh, that's a great book.
Yeah, it is a book.
It's like we were required to read that book. Great. Yeah, you like that book.
Check that book out.
Fail Forward.
But just real quick, I wanted to talk about, the cycle of what we've been talking about, and I think the root cause of that, as we get older, is in our mind we had this idea that at a certain age we'd be married, at a certain age we'd have kids, we'd have the house with the picket fence, we'd have the career, the stable career, and I think a lot of times we put that added pressure on ourselves when we get to a certain age that now I don't have it, I need to get whatever resembles it. And what I mean by whatever resembles it is like we stop having those in-depth conversations with ourselves. We stop looking at the inner person that we meet and just start looking at the outer person that we meet and be like, okay, he or she looks like somebody that I could be with. Because now it's about getting that quick fix, what we talked about earlier. Just the And so what happens as you get older and you start getting these quick fixes, the quick career that looks like the career I thought I would have, the relationship that looks like the relationship that I thought I would already be in. You start getting these quick fixes, and now all of a sudden you get involved in these. Now it's like you force yourself to stay in them. Because
I don't have time to.
I don't have time anymore.
Right.
I'm gonna make this. I'm
I'm not
work
starting
for me.
over here.
Yeah, I'm gonna make this work for me because it resembles what I thought I would have at this age.
Oh my God,
Oh,
that is
that's
so
interesting.
good. That's so good because I was married for a long time, and do we have time?
Oh yeah. I just want to make sure the camera was on you.
And you get to a place, it wasn't like, we're fighting and, it just was all that bad, but it just wasn't, it didn't feel like it was the place for me to continue to keep growing and who I felt like, I was, or I wanted to expand into. I had to make a choice. I mean, do I stay in it and look good for people? Because everybody said,
call that
oh
the
my
social
God,
media
you are
relationship.
just the perfect couple. And we'd go out and they'd be like, oh my God, look at you two. We had that for a long time. Oh, you got the house, you got the cars, you got, everything. And so I had to make a decision. Oh, holy crap, what's that?
Sorry.
And it's tough. It's really tough.
Oh.
Okay, I made the decision for myself.
Now what? Now what? Right?
Yeah. Now what do I do?
It is a tough decision.
But it was a good decision.
But it takes a special person to even be able to make that decision, because as you
For
get
you.
older, you get in a comfort zone.
Yep.
Right.
I had to work on myself a lot.
Yeah.
I had to work internally
Yeah.
to be okay.
And you have it's like the scales of justice. You have to weigh things out. Like
Because you still got to feel good about yourself when it's all.
when it's all
me,
said
it's
and done.
made.
Like
And so being in the, I mean, I guess people call it the entertainment industry, people have said this to me, and I mean not once but several times. How do you sing like that and you're not rich already? How can you sing that way and you're not already? And I said, well, I've made some choices that others probably wouldn't make. I mean, I've walked into a studio and been offered everything, but in exchange for me giving up everything. You know, with notable people.
And when you went
And
to The Voice,
I've been to The Voice, I've been to all those places, but not to The Voice standing in line, the Voice them saying, hey, we want you to come, you can come to New York, you can come to LA, you can come to Chicago. And I go and I have a dream the night before and I see a stack of papers like this and I keep hearing your soul will be sold. You know, this is, I'm just saying, you know, I'm saying this because, you know, I don't want you to take your show off the thing for us
first of
mentioning
all,
certain
this
names.
is a podcast.
Okay, all right, okay.
So
But you know how they do. It's just-
hey,
never
speak,
know.
Okay,
speak your truth.
So
Yeah.
Somebody needs to hear this.
I had this dream, right? And the dream is they set me down in just stacks of paper. And I walk out into the car, and there's this long black limousine, and they bring me into the car. You know, we're gonna give you this. A big rack pulls up with all these beautiful cars, like that whole thing is yours. And I get out the car, and then he says, "Oh, by the way, the only thing you have to do is just sell your soul." This is in the dream. So I wake up the next day and I go for this audition per se, because I had already kind of cut through all the. They just looked at a video that someone else just happened to be sitting beside me at the airport and said, "We need to send her stuff in." So the lady at the top, they just cut me through. I get back there though, and after I fill out all this paperwork, I'm no longer there, because that paperwork that I saw in the dream was actually there. It was you was just signing paper after with every signature. I got more and more sick. I said, "Oh my gosh!" So when I get back there, I'm trying to sing, and I picked a song that I've never sung it before. It was Gravity. You know that song? Gravity is working against me. So I literally was prophetically saying with the song the way I felt, and I was unconscious of it. So I started singing. They go, wait. Where's the person that was in the video? And I said, she is not here. They said, but can you get on the piano and play your song? But I know if I play my music, it's no longer my music, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, no, I think I'm good. They're like, you just gonna leave? I'm like, that's it. I walk out of the place and I hear you didn't come here to be on The Voice. You came here to remember that you are The Voice. So I was fighting against myself. So I had one backpack and I ended up living in LA as a result of that. I went to eat somewhere. She had helped me get there. And I went to eat and I walk in a place and a guy, he comes over. This is what I mean about discerning what the person is for. He comes over and he starts talking to me. He said, baby girl, who are you? And I said, I gave him my name. He said, I want you to know that I'm your angel for the next few days. He picked me up. He bought me groceries. He did everything and didn't try anything. He said, I'm just here as a support. Whenever you need me, you just call me, and this is what I'm here for. And so I've had that so much with men that I've learned to discern pretty quickly, like, oh, wait, they're here for this, they're here for that. Because if I mix it, he could have missed out on what he was there for. And he just, it's not that he didn't come and go, okay, baby girl, you're looking good. He said, but I know what I'm here for. I'm only the angel. And we just sort of flowed that way. But I forget why I was telling y'all the story. It was a good story.
It was an amazing story.
But that whole soul thing and that, me making decisions about my career based on time and feeling like if you don't do it by this time, which is a part of what I felt like I kind of got into when I first moved here, like I need to get it done. But the one thing that I wouldn't do is I didn't want to become what I call a gig whore. I didn't just want to be going from gig to gig to gig to gig. I wanted to do my own music, and it took a journey, and I had to keep going in. They were like, why are you quitting? The audience is full now. It's like, because that's not where I want to be, and I'd have to keep starting over. This is a start all over for me to do music here. Every Sunday it'll be coming up, but it's a start over for me. But either I'm going to believe in myself or I'm not. It's a starting over because now I want to do my original music in a more luxury environment and have people that's going to help me to do that. So yeah.
So you and just to kind of piggyback off of that, you it's not a start over. You just needed a home,
Ooh.
and now you have a home.
Mm-hmm.
You no longer have to go to someone else's place to perform. Now people come to you.
Yeah.
So, and that's why I say about mindsets. Mindsets is so important
That's
that if
good.
we start thinking of things in different ways, we start having different outcomes. And so that's what I found my purpose in life was.
Okay.
Like I've done everything. I've been a cop, 2-tour combat veteran, played professional sports. When I tell you I've done it all,
Wow.
I've done it all. But none of it was my purpose. I'm actually living and walking in my purpose now.
That's so
And
beautiful.
so, yeah, I'm not making the money that I was making when I was in the mortgage industry or playing or any of that. But I am the most gratified. I have the most gratification now because I created something that not only benefits me, but everyone else.
Wow.
And that was the idea behind us creating this, is that we wanted to create a platform that would be sustainable and also would be able to put other people on a plateau and
Nice.
celebrate other people. And so I'm so glad that we are able to do this. And I couldn't even tell you how it really came about. Like, I could tell you, the ideas we had, but how we got to right here was a whirlwind.
Wow. I can
Was
imagine.
and it was really by God's grace that it happened, because none of us is sitting on deep pockets at all. But we have some of the most high tech equipment in here, and
I see.
and it's just amazing to be able to create this platform. And I'm doing it because I want other people to be able to have a voice. It's nice for me to be able to be that voice for people that are voiceless, but I just want other people to know that, like, you can have this platform. You can come on here and have self-expression about whatever it is you want to talk about, with no inhibitions and have unapologetic conversations. Because, like I said earlier, the world is missing those true and raw conversations.
Yeah.
If we don't like something, I don't care what the world feels like and how they view it and how they tiptoe around it. We're going to give you the rough, rugged, and raw.
I want to interject
Go
one
ahead.
thing about. So I want, because I'm sure this podcast speaks to a gamut of people, but I want to speak specifically to Black women, because when we're talking about strong, that badge has gotten us into that's a whole thing.
See, you about to go into a whole nother show.
Another show.
To be continued,
This
maybe.
is and this is going to be continued, but
Yes. Because that's a.
but there is a such thing as too strong.
That's I'm
It
just
is.
saying that.
It is.
And as it pertains to women, there is a such thing as being too strong to the point to where you feel like you don't need a man.
Absolutely, we need.
I don't
men.
believe in that.
I'm sorry, we need to
I don't
have
believe
nice-
in that.
But
But I know it's true. That's
if,
why I
you,
said.
It's true.
if you open up social media,
Oh, I know.
probably every other post is of a woman talking about what she did, how she don't need a man, and she
No,
did
child.
this herself. And that is actually kind of the mentality of a lot of women that get into these relationships. And
That's what I wanted to clarify.
That's when you start having that where
battle.
where the person is keeping track.
Yep.
Oh,
I did this.
oh.
I remember reminding people of what, if you're in a relationship and someone's reminding you of what they've
they
done
did.
for you, get out.
Well, here's the thing I
Like
have
the
to
movie,
say
huh?
about that.
Get out.
First of all, we don't need a man.
Yeah,
You don't need a woman. We are
I had to be-
complete. We are
yeah.
whole just the
Not
way
needy,
we are.
not
We do
needy.
not need each other.
Yeah.
You choose, it goes back to choosing your partner wisely. Do you want to share this journey of life with someone because it does make things more fun. It does make things more enjoyable. Like, is it as much fun traveling alone as it is when you travel with a partner or your kids? Like, going to Disneyland for the first time was the best going with my kids. because I could see it through their eyes. So it's the same thing when you have a partner. Life is better with a partner. It's more enjoyable, I should say, but you don't need
Yeah.
that
But-
partner. You're whole just the way you are.
Those, and I always say this. So yeah, let me retract that. You don't need anyone because I always say that.
What
I
does
don't.
need mean though? I don't
And-
know.
and that-
We don't
and
need a
that's-
man.
That's.
I'm talking about for the
Masculine
fullness.
energy.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Is there another word that we can use
That's-
other
I wonder.
than need?
I
Because
don't know.
we all have our own journeys. And
Yes.
that's not to say that we can't accomplish the things that we want to accomplish by ourselves.
Right.
So
But-
what
but how
other
do you-
word would we use other than need? Because need means that I can't do it unless I have.
Is that what that means? You guys think that's what need means?
Okay, give us your definition of what need.
I don't
said,
know. Now don't get me wrong. I've definitely said what she said before many times.
And I've said it.
teaching, I'm like, listen, we're whole and we're now. But I want to talk about my real life experiences. So I think about my life. There's a lot of things I've accomplished with just Lisa on the journey because I've lived in all these different places. Musically, I've had to be out here with just me. Let's just use that man that came along as an angel that day. I don't know. He fulfilled a pretty powerful need in that moment that I had. The one that I said he came along
But
and
you
said, I'm your
manifested
angel.
that. You brought his energy in. That was you.
I know, but
Masculine energy.
So it
But-
wasn't you didn't need him. You needed the things that he brought to the table that allowed you to, because that could have came in the form of anything.
yeah, I'm thinking I'm just being,
That could have
I'm
came
being
in a
practical.
form of anything.
Okay, so think about, so at a show, a guy, he comes up and he's gathering my stuff. Now, when it's time for me to go off the stage, everybody comes to try to help because I had a bad accident, and we'll talk about that another time. But, so people come to help. But my preferred, I always say, let the men do it. Let the men do it because that's what I like. That ignites something. So when I say need, there is something that cannot be ignited in me without masculine energy in a male body. It's just,
That's what you prefer and what you like.
yes.
That's not necessarily what you
You
need.
need. Right.
I don't
right.
know.
Because what if you were at a women's conference
Yes.
and you were performing at a women's conference?
Not the
and it
getting
was
off
just,
the stage.
It was just you. It was just you.
Okay,
And
okay,
you had
let
all
me
of
ask
these
y'all
things
this.
on stage.
Let me ask y'all this. Is sex necessary for life?
No.
Can we be sexless?
We can.
Yeah. Yeah.
Y'all is lying.
So
We say it can be done.
Can
Can I
be
do
done.
it?
Can-
Can I specifically do it? No. But it can be done.
Can or do you want? There's two different things.
Yeah.
Would you like?
Okay, so let me.
You?
Okay,
What
so
about
let's
the
talk
monks?
about a complete full person, right?
Uh-huh.
Can we be complete? I'm not gonna use the word whole because I know you're gonna. That's gonna trigger you to come back.
Look, she
with-
waiting on you.
Yeah.
She like, do it. Give me some ammo.
And now I'm playing the advocate
Yeah.
role. That is, I guess, because I want to sort of drive the fact that as there's a certain way that I feel, because trust me, I have taken this journey alone a lot, so it's obviously I can function without having quote unquote just the one partner or the one mate. But I meet a lot of beautiful men along the way. So as she says, what did you say? I'm a serial monogamous. I mean, I can meet men and they become, whoa, this is a connection. And then, okay, I don't live here anymore.
That
so
ran
the
its
next,
course.
yeah, so I can move to the next thing versus elongated. I do have a little bit of fear of the elongated commitment, just to be honest, of what that will be and will I be fulfilled as a person. But when I think of men in my life, it's just something missing when I don't have that masculine energy. And sometimes I'm not aware of it until masculine energy comes along. You know, you can say, oh, child, but honey, when the masculine comes along, I said, oh, maybe I wasn't as complete as I thought. So I don't know.
Well, you know what? I used the wrong word when I said, can women be too strong? I should have said, can women be too independent?
Okay.
That is a different.
So we like interdependent, we
independent.
like intradependent.
that's different because when I think of being too independent, is you're not letting anybody in, man,
So they won't
woman,
let
Yes.
anything. You and it's almost like you saying this is mine.
Yes,
you
and-
can't have it. It's mine. So
I've
I
lived
guess
that way
I guess
before,
that is the right vocabulary I want to use when I instead of saying, can women be too strong?
Because you know
Can they
that
be too
terminology, though,
independent?
right? That
Huh?
the strong black woman is the phrase that is, they're saying it as a compliment. And it doesn't always feel like a compliment, like, oh, she's a strong black woman. Sometimes that connotation in our community means that, oh, she don't need nobody. And that's why I'm like, don't call me that. Because I don't want that to be, I don't want you to interpret that to the filter that has been
Yeah, because
placed
it
in
can
our
be
community.
intimidating. It can
Yes,
be
and I
intimidating to
feel like I
guys.
already have some of that
Yeah.
intimidating thing.
You don't
where-
have to say it. Your vibe and your energy.
That's what I'm
gives
saying.
it
So
off.
I'm like,
But when you really look at it, even when we say a strong black woman, how does she get there?
because there was no
From who?
Mm-hmm. How'd
It
you get that way?
yeah, exactly. So there was
How'd you get that way?
Well, it could have been a mother that she looked at,
But how did the mother get there?
the absence of maybe, or the absence but present. The present absent thing we call. He's present but he's absent.
At some point, it traces back to a man when you talk about strength. Regardless of whether it goes back 2 generations, 3 generations, it all traces back to a
Right.
man. Somewhere a
ancestral.
woman learned it from a man and passed it on to her daughter. And maybe her daughter learned it from her mom, but it still traces back to a man.
Or the lack thereof.
Yeah.
And how about we stop saying strong woman? Don't think of yourself as a strong woman, but powerful. If you don't want to use
I take
strong,
that every time.
say I'm a
Yeah,
powerful
I'll
woman.
take powerful. Oh, because that speaks that's like an essence.
Yeah, and I hear that more, which I'm glad that you're
And plus,
powerful.
it doesn't leave room for you to have any weak moments or you have this view that I'm a strong woman. Now you put me out there to where now I almost have to live up to that expectation, even when I don't want to be strong.
Well, I think it's a generational gap also because in my generation, speaking from the older set back here, that strong didn't actually mean what it means to the generation of women.
Because y'all
Yeah,
had men.
that is true.
Because y'all had strong
Yeah,
men.
We had men more
Accountable
So
and
even though
present.
they were like, all the men weren't in the home, but really there was a lot of men there and supportive and kind of would take the lead. So it doesn't have that same type of feeling for me. If you say I'm a strong woman, I don't go like you thinking I'm this powerhouse or whatever. I just think of you saying it like a compliment. Oh, okay, I can actually take care of myself if I need to take care of myself.
And
And,
most people, most women would view it like that. I think it was so important you said that. It has to do with the times. Like things aren't what they used to be.
And that's why I pushed back so quickly.
Yeah,
Because I'm like, they got that as a very negative
used to
thing
be.
right now.
But we do have people that still hold on to old school values, and I think that is so important. Is we need to have. That's why I say these conversations are needed, because if nothing else, both sides of strength need to be explained.
Absolutely.
Because that way
I think
we
so, too.
understand that there's different meanings to the word strong. And it doesn't necessarily mean you have to tiptoe around it. You just need to have a clear understanding of what it means and what it means to
To
different
that
people.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. To the person.
And so, and I say that all the time, even when it comes to culturally. We're doing the 6-part series on Black culture. We're doing the 6-part series on Black culture, and it's not specifically for Black people. It's for other cultures to understand our culture,
Yeah.
because that way it kind of cuts through that ignorant stage. Now you start understanding why Black culture is what it is, how it started, why we do the things we do, why we say the things we say, why we dress the way we dress, because a lot of the things that are going on in this world has to do with ignorance and the inability to be willing to learn about other people's culture.
For
and
sure.
So that's why we have these open discussions, and when we talk about strong women, it's very important that we explain that people view it it's not saying that both ways are wrong, but you're gonna have someone that view it one way and someone that views it another way, and they're both right.
Yeah.
Right.
But
Yes,
now you just
yes.
appealed to a wider audience when you're explaining both sides, because somewhere, if she had not have chimed in, somebody would be commenting, "Well, I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
This is how I was raised. A strong woman is act." And so that's why we have this dialogue, and it's not just one on one.
Yeah.
It's having multiple views
Yeah.
of a particular subject, and so. Man, this was a very powerful. This was a very powerful show.
Deep
I,
breath.
I just want to thank you guys for coming in. Like, this was like an impromptu show,
Right.
but probably one of the better shows that we've had. Just from an information, culture, gender, perspective. And so I just want to thank you guys for coming in. You guys will be back, but we want to shed light on what we have coming up.
Yeah.
Okay.
We kind of gave a prelude to it at the beginning of the show, but let the viewing audience know what you have coming up.
Okay, so starting December the 12th, I will be here performing
Where's
during
here?
the show. Oh, at the Forum Lounge.
2301 South Stearman
Stearman
Drive
Drive.
in Chandler.
Chandler, Arizona. So I'll be here doing music with a live band, and I'll be doing my original music on December 12th. It's sort of a soft release party in terms of the album. I want all y'all to be here. Don't play me. And so, and then 2 weeks later, we're doing, I don't know if you guys know who Doc Jones is. Doc Jones is, this is a part of that. Oh, you do? Oh, nice. He is the founder of the International Jazz Festival. I think it's important to honor those who have paved a way and pushed through and created a way for people like me to get on stage without having to come through a back door. Okay? So he has been a person to do that. So on the 26th of November, I'm going to honor him. I'm just going to take, even though that Sunday is my Sunday, I'm going to take time to honor him, bring his friends in and folks to do a tribute to him. And then on December the 10th, we're doing a big holiday party at the Forum as well. And then what will happen at the first of the year, we'll do every Sunday here. It's going to be called, I'm still playing with this. I think it's Soul Sunday.
Sunday.
I don't want to let go of my
like
Lux
that.
Sunday though.
Soul
What?
Sunday.
Why
Soul
y'all don't like
Sunday.
Lux?
Lux Soul
Nobody knows
Sunday?
what that means?
I
Lux,
use Lux
Lux.
for my Super Bowl event.
Okay, so it's called Lux,
Lux Soul
Sunday.
Sun-
But I got to give it up, I guess. I don't know.
No, we can work Lux
Lux
Soul
Soul?
Sunday.
Lux Soul
Soul
Sunday.
Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because I
Lux
want-
Soul
Listen, I
Sunday.
want people to come in here dressed and
Yeah.
know that they're coming
Lux
to a whole vibe. So starting at the beginning of the year, every Sunday, I don't know, it's going to be 6 to 9, 7 to 10.
Yeah, we're
still
working.
hashing
We're
it out.
working on. It will be Sunday, and we're working on. Right now, it's looking more of the evening, but we're
do
also
some
working
special
on
ones.
something that where we're formulating a brunch that would lead into
Yes.
the evening, and maybe a DJ for the
Yes.
brunch,
Yeah.
and then lead into
Okay. Yes.
the
The
evening.
The evening with the light. Okay, we'll talk. You
Yeah.
talk.
So we gonna have church. We gonna have church. It's gonna be church. So Failure Brand, T Flight Studios, in conjunction with Shoes Off Talk, we will be partnering because we will be going live during their shows. We will have them come on prior to their shows to give you updates on the happenings. I know the forum will also be putting it on their website as
Yes.
well, so you'll be able to get more information from the forum's website where they talk about their events and everything happening. So I'm looking forward to
Oh,
it.
and
yeah.
you can find more information on my website too as things come up at LisaHightowerMusic.com. So LisaHightowerMusic.com, it'll have everything.
Yes, and so you guys stay in the know with us, and we will be giving you periodic updates leading up to these events. And this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning. I've always felt a lot of my viewers know that I've been tied to the nightlife scene in Arizona for a lot of years. And I've done a lot of things. One of the originals that brought all of the high-profile people to Arizona, the Swizz Beatz, the 50 Cents, the Mary J. Blige's, the Jamie Foxxes, the list goes on.
Wow.
And so now it's time for us to create an adult atmosphere in the East Valley to where we don't have to necessarily every Sunday go all the way out to Blue
Somewhere
Martini.
else.
Blue Martini.
You know what?
And it's, believe me, I love Blue Martini.
Yes.
I'm not knocking them, but we live in the third largest metropolitan city in the United States. If you don't have multiple Blue Martini-esque locations to where people can not have to travel 45 minutes to an hour, there's enough to go around.
Yeah.
It is enough.
There's enough to go around. I'm not knocking
enough.
Blue Martini. Every holiday weekend, I think
Oh,
I
yes.
dang near have a VIP table
I know
there.
that's
so,
right.
so I love what they do there.
Yes.
We just
And the
need
band, Reminisce.
Yes.
Give it up for them.
Oh,
for sure.
Yes.
love
Ooh,
them.
love Reminisce.
Yeah.
Yes.
But we need to create something in the East Valley to where we can start branching out because we're basically are offering them the same thing that Blue Martini's offering, but having it more accessible. And so we want to write, and it is really about the culture of music,
Yep.
and music is universal. So
And
we-
good food.
yeah, good food. We want to be able to share that message, and the more places we can share that message in, the better off we make our city, we make
Yes.
the country, the world, and the whole nine. So this isn't a competition.
No.
No.
It's more
competition.
it's more of, just having other locations to spread the message. And like you said, we do so much through music.
Yes.
We make love through music. We connect through music.
Create community.
Create community through music, and that's all we're doing is creating another community where we can share these messages through song.
Because
And
let me say this about when I first got the idea of Lux Sunday. The idea of it was that it would be music central in the sense of music would be the central point, but all around it people would be making business deals and sort of like a golf course, but in a music sense. You're making deals, you're meeting people, you're networking, you're finding a ways to
where
expand your
souls
business.
connect.
Yes.
So that's why we
So-
say Lux Soul Sundays.
Thank you. Just don't get rid of my Lux.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we didn't want, and that's why we didn't brand it to be like Sunday brunch or
Yeah.
music or entertainment.
Bigger than that.
It's bigger than that.
Bigger.
So that's why Lux Soul Sunday.
Thank you, Tim,
See,
for hearing me.
I'm-
See how
I'm-
the,
yeah,
see how the
I'm-
man
I'm-
heard
I'm
me?
speaking that into existence.
You
So-
better say it.
So yeah, Lux Soul Sunday is coming beginning of the year. Stay tuned for the two events on the 10th and the 12th.
And
Yes.
That's coming up.
Yes.
Yes, December 10th.
December, we're
and
going
the
to
12th.
do a big holiday party that we're going to all think
Nice.
about how we're going to do that.
And maybe we'll just combine because Shoes Off Talk, T Flight Studios we've been putting off our grand opening. Maybe we will have that be a part of the grand opening to where people can physically come in and view the studio
Nice.
Oh.
and see what we have
Yes.
going on here. So that may be a little compilation, cold
Yeah.
little get together type of thing. But
Nice.
guys, women, viewers, we appreciate everybody tuning in. And like I said earlier, I do not take for granted that people take time out and give us their time. I don't take it for granted. I'm so honored and I feel privileged to be able to have, even if it's just a minute of your time. So don't think that we take these things for granted because we don't. I value time, I value my time, and I value everyone else's time. But we just had an amazing show. I
Thank you
appreciate you
for
guys
inviting
again
me.
for coming on.
Thank you.
I look forward to future shows. Christy, do you have anything on the way out?
No. This is this is great information that I'm getting. So
Yes. So stay tuned. We will be updating all of our platforms on what the current events are, what's coming up. But as we end all shows, just to let y'all know, we say love, peace, and soul.
Oh.
But this this time, let's do this. Take us out on a song.
Oh, don't do that.
Take us out on a song. We gonna change it up.
All right, let's do it. Let's go ahead.
Come on. Give us a look.
Impromptu,
Well,
whatever.
I
Like,
can't wait till the morning to say that I love you. That's it.
All right.
Hey, y'all don't be surprised if our intro song is
I can't wait. Yes.
Yes.
I'm gonna create something for this.
yes,
Yes, please
yes.
do. Yes.
So we need.
Come on now. Come on. Yeah.
Hey, come on, take your shoes off.
Y'all better hear this now.
Hey.
Sit back and relax and let yourself go. We're gonna talk about things that you need to know. You take your shoes off. Yeah.
Hey. All right, you guys. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Come back.